everybody. It's Dr. Betsy Greenleaf with another episode of Body, Mind, Spirit. So we have with us today Aimee, Carlson, and Naomi, Damask, and we're going to be talking about toxins as part of our spring cleaning workup here for April. So thank you so much, Aimee and Naomi, for being with us today.
Well, thank you for having us.
So excited to be here.
So we were talking about this. What is the problem and why should we be concerned about toxins?
Are you sure you want to go there?
Yeah.
So let's think about it. Since World War II, 80,000 chemicals were introduced into our society and consumption. Every single year, there are over 15,000 chemicals introduced into production in our society. We are inundated with toxins. We're getting them through what I like people to get this visual, right? Think about a bucket, right? And we're filling up this bucket. And in fact, it's been dripping long before we were even born, because it's found that when we have toxins in our body, it's going up to 4 generations down to the next level. So this bucket is just kind of getting dripped in and dripped in and dripped in. And what ends up happening is it eventually fills and it's going to spill over. And then that's when we have those symptoms. Now, some people, it fills up really fast. And some people, it's a slow process. And we're getting that from things like the water, the air that we breathe, the, products that we're using inside our home, the food that we eat. So many people could have exposures in their workplace. For 30 years, I worked on cars. I was a service technician. I owned automobile service centers. So I was exposed to lots of toxic chemicals, right?
And I just want to add on as well is women, when you're carrying your baby, what they have discovered now is up to 300 chemicals are now being found in the umbilical cord. Oh, yeah. So that's why you have to really take note of that. Like, these babies are not being born clean. They're saying that they're born with dirty genes. And it's so sad that this is happening. But at the same time, Aimee and I have solutions for you guys. So don't fret.
Oh my goodness. Yeah. So, I think, you think you're doing all these things healthy for yourself. You think you're eating right. But there are so many toxins that are around us. Where do you even get started with trying to clean up the life around you?
Right. Well, and we're gonna come in with some solutions. So I want to make sure you all understand that we're not going to leave you high and dry, and we're going to come in with those solutions. Now, I want to take just a little bit of time in this first section and really talk about the toxins, because it's more than the physical things, right? We're talking about the body right now and the exposures that we have. And I don't want to leave you with doom and gloom and, oh my gosh, how am I ever going to avoid all of that stuff? Because you're saying air, water, food, what's left, right?
Sure. Yeah.
And it's in my babies, and that's scary stuff. And you should be scared. We need to be more aware of this. But I also want to talk about the mind and spirit too here, because when we're toxic in our mind, it affects our words. It affects what we do. Yes. It affects the spirit that we have inside of ourselves, right? So it all starts with the thought, and what does Philippians 4:8 tell us? Right? That verse tells us we need to focus on what is pure and right and true and honorable. These are the things that we need to focus on, because the Bible, God knows that when our thoughts are not pure, when our thoughts are toxic, that's going to make our words toxic. It's going to make our actions toxic. And who can relate to that?
Yeah.
And that's so important too, because of the fact that just in general for health, you can't separate the body, mind, and spirit. So
And we know emotions get stored in different organs in the body. We know it's affecting our physical health. We know it's affecting our spiritual health. And how many women do you come in contact with that are out there talking about, well, it's this philosophy that I'm a victim and I have no choice over my thoughts, right?
Yeah.
We have so many choices, Aimee, and that's one thing. I've mentored hundreds of women. I'm a breast cancer thriver, and that is one area that I will tell people that we really need to focus in on is our emotional health and our spiritual health. And I think those are so many times women, we live in this society of, oh, it's diet and exercise, but it's so much more when it comes to wellness. And I always stop to say, would you say those things to your best friend? If you can't say, I would say that to her, don't say it to yourself, because you need to be your own best friend as well.
Oh, definitely, women, we need to start treating ourselves better. And I want to make and empower you to know that you have a choice. And if you go into the Bible, it's over and over and over again that it talks about the words we choose to use. Proverbs is full. Colossians is full of content about the words that we choose to use in our language. And that really, because I remember a time in my life many years ago where it was like, he made me angry. She made me this upset. No, you allowed that. Does that make sense?
No,
And
I
this is where
love
we
that.
draw the toxins into it, because that's toxic, stinking thinking.
And
Yes.
in I think our country right now, unfortunately, everyone's the victim and everyone has this victim mentality. I like, Naomi, how you say you're a breast cancer thriver, because there's so many people are like, they identify with their illness or they identify with bad things in their lives when we have the power to change those things.
Oh, yes, we have a total choice. And I tell people, here's an example. My basement got water in it the other day. And of course, it wasn't on my radar. And we were like, our bucket is full these days of other things that are going on. And I was like, all right, I'm going to acknowledge this, that this really stinks. We didn't need this, but I'm not going to stay there. I had a choice to make. I could stay there and just be fuming away all day and be blaming someone else, or just saying, you know what, God, there's a lesson in here. And there always is. And we found out yesterday, it could have been a lot worse. So, we sometimes we have to take the emotions out of it and pause and not react right then and there. And we're not supposed to worry. In Matthews, they talk about that. We're not supposed to worry. That is a sin. And a sin is a sin is a sin, as my mom would always say growing up. It doesn't matter. It's still a sin. So don't worry about tomorrow. Things happen for a reason, and we just need to pause more.
Yeah, these are such great points. And I hear all the time, we're only given as much as we can handle. And it's so true, because as humans, just in general, we have the ability to overcome anything. It's just being in that right mindset, like you were saying, Aimee, too. Like if you're in a toxic mindset, forget it. Your body's going to be sick, your attitude's going to be ill, your spirit's going to be, dark and black and terrible. And, so.
Well, and what we focus on is what we create. So for instance, if you're a mom or a grandma, right, and you have a child that's misbehaving, whether it's, well, are the kids at school these days? They're at home, right? And if you're constantly focused on that bad behavior, what's happening? That bad behavior is getting amplified and it's continuing. But if you choose, say, you know what, Johnny, even if it's only one minute thing that you do today that is good, I am going to praise it. I am going to accolade it. I am going to highlight it. I am going to put all focus on that one good thing. That child learns that this is what brings me all the joy. This is what's bringing me mom's attention, grandma's attention, right? So that's what they start doing. We were taught that, at least in my generation, right? And that's
Yes.
the power of our words. That's the power of our thoughts. And it's true. What you focus on inside this little, committee that's constantly stirring and going is what is going to be your reality out here. And it's proven every single day, over and over and over again.
Yeah, that is wonderful. So we're going to take a commercial break at this point in time, and then we will be back with Aimee and Naomi.
We got some tips.
80% of women will develop a pelvic health condition at some point in their lives. There is relief. There is hope. The Pelvic Floor Store, your resource for personal health.
And we're back, and we're talking with the Toxin Terminator, Aimee Carlson, and breast cancer thriver and health coach, Naomi Damask. Thank you so much for being here with us.
Absolutely.
So before the break, we were talking about how toxins, whether they're physical, chemical toxins, or our toxic thoughts, can affect our bodies and our minds and our spirits. What can we do about it?
Okay, I'm so glad you asked. And, we don't ever want to leave people in a space, and especially, men are always solution driven. They are always looking for those answers. So guys, you're going to love the second part of this show. All right. Because, we want to give you the tips, and we're not going to give everything away here, but let's give you kind of our top tips. Does that sound good?
Yeah.
One of my biggest tips, and I think it's such a misunderstanding, comes around water, right? So we all know we need to be drinking clean water. We need to have the purification systems on the house, on the drinking water, those type of things. But most of us don't realize that we're actually causing more damage to the body through when we shower. So there's actual scientific studies that show a 10-minute shower is more damaging to the body, and you have more toxins enter into the body than drinking 8 glasses of water a day.
Wow.
Isn't that crazy? So, and what happens is the shower, the hot, causes a chemical reaction with the chlorine that is in the city water. And it's used for purification. And it's not necessarily the chlorine that's real damaging to the body. It's that chemical reaction that happens, the gases that get released, and it's the byproducts from the chlorine that are causing such damage to our body. And most of us shower, daily or every other day at least, right? So, that's one I like to make sure that my clients understand is I want you, if you cannot do a whole house filtration system, because we get it. You might be in a temporary housing. You might be in something that's a rental, and you don't want to go to the expense to put a whole house system in. There are wonderful shower filters that you can purchase for $30, $40. From Aquasana, from Berkey, I believe, has a shower filter as well. Those would be my top 2 suggestions. But water is a big one, guys and ladies. We need to make sure that our water is clean. The second area that I want to address that we're filling our bucket in is the products that we're using every single day, whether it be what we're doing our laundry with, what we are cleaning our houses with. Excuse me. And this is what for the ladies, our personal care products. Now, men, I understand you are showering, you are shaving, you're using deodorant as well. And you're using, I believe the average man uses about 87 to 90 different chemical ingredients every single day. But the woman uses up to 500 every single day, because think of it, makeup, moisturizer, we're just using so much more. So what was really, really beneficial to me when I first started is on your phone, you can download an app called Think Dirty. And Think Dirty was developed by a breast cancer survivor. And she was looking at all these products that were endocrine disrupting and causing issues. And she created this app. And in this app, you can go in and type in or scan any of your personal care products, your cleaning products, and it's going to give you a rating. And what I really, really like about this app is not only are you going to know what to buy, but it's educational. So in the beginning, it's helping you understand this is the rating, but here's the ingredient of why it gets that rating and what it does to the body. So this was so beneficial for me in the very beginning. And that's a tip I'm going to tell you. It's free to use. Please start using that. Go do a scavenger hunt in your home right now and start clicking and seeing what are the ratings on the different products that I'm using. So that covers water, and that covers a lot of our products in our home. But Naomi, I want you to talk about the other balancing part of this equation, because toxins are huge, but we got to detox too. And that's a big piece of the puzzle.
We have to detox. And before I go into the detox part, is I really want to also cover is our food. We've talked about that. And, there is actually, it's called the Dirty Dozen, as well as the Clean 15. A lot of times people are trying to figure out, what should I eat? Especially when it comes to fruits and vegetables, you want to make sure that you are buying either always organic, and it can be frozen. And I tell people frozen vegetables and fruit are outstanding. And there's so many places we can now get it at. You can get it from, like Walmart, Aldi's, Trader Joe's, a Costco, and they're making it very reasonable. Otherwise, I also encourage people to plant gardens, do community gardening together. It's a way to, one, be in community with one another. And also you really understand what you are growing and producing. But the Dirty Dozen, as well as the Clean 15. That way you can see, I don't have to buy everything organic. These are the ones that I can purchase that don't need to be organic. So just going back, and then one other thing in regards to water, I know so many people are always like, oh, I'm going to buy bottled water. Please do yourself a favor and really, truly have a reusable water bottle. I say, avoid plastic at all costs if you really can, especially when you're buying those water bottles at the store. You don't know how long they've been sitting around in a truck, if it got hot to cold, and that plastic will actually leach into your water. So it's going to save you money for one thing, and also it's just going to save our environment, because right now we do need to pay attention to what's going on with our environment. But detoxing, this is probably one of my favorite things to talk about. And I know I get all jazzed up, but we have 5 major detox organs in our body. Our skin, like Aimee was covering, that is one. That is our major organ. Sometimes we stop and we don't think about that being an organ, but it is. So we really need to pay attention to what we are putting on, like Aimee was addressing. Our lungs, we have to take time to actually breathe. Breathing in and taking those deep breaths will help release toxins and getting in. So telling people, there's a reason why meditation is huge these days. It's because, first of all, you're lowering your stress. But I think so many times, like what we're saying about our thoughts, we'll think, I can't meditate, I can't do these things. I will say, take a mindful break and just sit there and envision that breath going from the tip of your toes to the top of your head. And just take a big breath in and then let it all out. Just breathe it out, and you will feel your body relax, and you are getting rid of toxins that way. Your kidneys, we have to make sure we are literally drinking enough water, especially men. I think men are really bad. I see that the men in my life not drinking water. So rule of thumb is whatever you weigh, take that, cut in that half. That's how many ounces you should try to aim to have each day. And very first thing before you reach for that cup of Joe in the morning is have water. because the reason is your body, when it sleeps, that's when we rest and that's when we detox as well. So I would like to give you the 3 S's. Sleep is key. We need sound sleep in our lives in order for our bodies to rest and repair itself. And making sure you go to bed at before 10 o'clock through 4 o'clock a.m. is when your body will repair itself, their organs. Sweating. We need to get our sweat on every single day because that is one way our lymphatic system moves. Our lymphatic system is a very important system in our body, but it's not attached to a major organ that's pumping. So we need to make sure we get it moving. You can also do that through a system called dry brushing, where you get a big brush and it's like literally moving the lymphatic system. And then the other word is stress. We have stressors in our lives. We have stress around us. That's what we're talking about, toxins. They actually are truly making us hang on to things. So what can we do to get rid of stress? Looking for lower inflammatory foods. Taking note on what we are eating is really important. There's an area called nutrigenomics. It's a big fancy word, but it really is truly saying what we are putting into our body will affect our genes. Mm-hmm. So many times people say, oh, genetically, it runs in my family. It really doesn't. We have a chance. It's almost like our genes are like light switches. Mm-hmm. You can either turn them on or turn them off. So the stressors from food, as well as our mind, and as well as these toxins. So we just need to really focus in on how can we lower our stress? Can we take a mindful break? Can we exercise? What are we eating? Is that, are we drinking a lot of alcohol, which is toxic on our liver? And those are the things that we can support ourselves with, and making sure, my girls always roll their eyes, but talking about elimination, pooping. We need to have a daily poop, people. I'm just going to say it.
That's so important about the poop. And it's so funny because people don't realize that with constipation, it actually can affect your hormones and other toxin buildups in the body. So, and hey, we all do it. So,
well, what we do. And, you think about it when you have that new baby. What is it, Dr. Betsy, that they talk about? They want you to look at the poop, and examine it. And it's sort of the same thing. It's a chart called the Bristol stool chart. Mm-hmm. And I tell people, go look at it and look to see what number you are. You want to be, a 3 or a 4 on that chart, and really aim. So that's going to be making sure you get plenty of fiber in your diet. That's one thing we're missing these days is fiber. I think we focus so much on, carbs, eliminating carbs and eating more protein, but we need the fiber.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, definitely.
I was trying to find my chart that I have of all these different systems in the body and what percentage the detox is happening with each one. And I just remember from sweating, it's about somewhere between 20 to 30% of the toxins are being released through sweat, and 70% are actually being released. So it must be 20% with sweat, because 70% is coming out through our breath, through that deep breathing, through releasing through our lungs. There's other pathways that are happening as well, but those are the 2 major areas.
And that's one thing that bothers me so much is when people use antiperspirants, because the chemical that's used for the antiperspirant itself is toxic. And then how it works is it's blocking your sweat glands. So sweat in itself doesn't smell. It's when it mixes with the bacteria on your skin that you get that odor. And there's other techniques to deal with that odor than blocking your sweat glands. So
right. Absolutely.
Yeah.
And I would add to what Naomi's saying, because in the certification that I got, stress is one of those top toxins to our body, physically, emotionally, spiritually. And I want to encourage our audience to remember to have fun. Look at your grandbabies, look at your kids, look at look at toddlers. Toddlers don't have to think about having fun. They just giggle and they laugh and they have a good time. We've got to remember the joy in our life and to really have fun.
You know what, Aimee, you're absolutely right. And one thing, as I tell people, laughter is the best medicine. It truly is. You know, if you can't make yourself laugh, go to YouTube and pull up those animal videos. Those things always get me. Any of the kid videos. But laughter, we have to have more joy and laughter in our lives, especially nowadays.
Right.
There's a lot of heaviness that's out there.
You know, they actually did studies where just the act of smiling, even if you're not feeling in the mood, but the act of smiling, your body goes, oh, wait, my face is in a smile position. I must be happy. And it will actually produce happy hormones. And it was funny. Funny, but not funny. Botox, the company that makes Botox, Allergan, actually tried to get it approved for depression. And I'm not advising this to treat depression, but they found when people couldn't frown because their faces were injected with so much Botox that they actually reported a better mood. But I said it's a lot cheaper and a lot safer just to make yourself smile.
Oh, yeah, don't get me started on Botox.
Yeah. So, you know, where can people find out more information about you?
Absolutely. So we've got a website called Transforming Women's Health. So just www.transformingwomenshealth.com. And there you can find all kinds of information. We have a private Facebook group that we do events in every single month that are key in helping women. Well, it's a women's group. Men, you are welcome. We have men that come into the group as well. And really focusing on health and wellness issues. We also have a course that's going to teach you how to stop filling that bucket and how to empty it out. And you can find that at our website. And of course, we want to talk to you. We want to find out what's important to you. What are you struggling with? And you can contact us through our website as well.
Great. Thank you so much for taking the time in your schedule today to talk with us. And I want to just remind everybody that if you enjoyed the program today, check out WYTV7.org. You can check out the other programming that we have. Also, if you feel the need to donate, there's an option to donate on the website, and the money goes not only to supporting great programs like this, but it also goes to helping people in the community. And we were just talking earlier, in the past year with coronavirus, they did a program where they fed firemen, fire people. You know, they've fed some hungry people in the community around Thanksgiving. They do scholarships. So there's lots of things that WYTV7.org is doing to help the community. Can people find you guys on social media?
Naomi, go for it.
And I have my also individual website, and Aimee does too. So, you know, there's so many ways to reach us. My website is ohmyword.net. You can find me on all social media channels. Aimee, you have your website as well.
Yeah, the Toxin Terminator is my website. Through AimieCarlson.com, you can type in, I have a podcast, and I bring in wonderful guests like Naomi and Dr. Greenleaf have been on the podcast, so you can find us there. And we both are out there on Facebook, Instagram, LinkedIn, Twitter, YouTube. You can't miss us.
And Aimee, you also have a book too.
I do. I have a book, The Toxin Terminator, and I have a new one coming out this year called The Toxin Exterminator.
Oh, I love it. Thank you once again. I want to remind people you can find me at drbetsygreenleaf.com and also follow me on social media. Once again, Aimee and Naomi, thank you so much for being with us today.
Thank you for having us.